Hello and welcome to the first long-form Trinkets to Side Quest. This is a little thing that I have been doing for quite some time now, for several years now, that I'm re-picking up in long format, well, also in short format, but also in long format, so that I can deliver to you something fun to do with your trinkets in D&D. Because let's be honest, trinkets are one of the most fun parts about rolling up your characters, finding what little weird thing you get. But eventually nothing really gets done with these trinkets and it kind of sucks. So I wanted to turn every single one of them into some sort of side quest that gets some sort of benefit or some sort of boon for you. That's just a little adventure that you can go on, that only you can go on because only you have this trinket. So I've done a bunch of them. They are all in a playlist or in a long video that is on the page. However, this is going to be number 40 in the player's handbook, which both PHBs in the player's handbook, which is a gemstone that looks like a lump of coal when examined by anyone but you. Okay, this is a fun one because I actually did give a player this. It was a bard in my game that was probably like, I don't know, like 2020, 2021, and they rolled this up and I was like, what would be something interesting to do with this? And I knew that eventually they were going to have to go to the plane of fire. I knew that this whole party was going to have to go to the plane of fire for the quest that I was going to send them on from level 1 to level 20, the overarching plot or whatever. So I was like, the plane of fire. So it starts with your player character, whoever has this, whoever rolls this, they are blessed by the old gods of the fire plane. Now, these gods are dead, and they only live on through the bloodlines of the blessed ones. But they are blessed by the fire plane's dead old gods. Right. Very important. Because your player is blessed by the dead old gods of the fire plane, they can see what this rock actually is. It is a gemstone. Everybody else sees it as a lump of coal, but they see it as a gemstone. And there's a reason for that. It's a cloaking device. It's a ruse. It's a safety mechanism, if you will.
Editing Alex here. Apparently I never actually said what the lump of coal was, which makes the rest of the video make no sense. The lump of coal that you only see as a gemstone is a key. The gemstone is the real version. The lump of coal is the illusion. And it is a key to a tomb that belongs to the ancient dead gods of the fire plane that blessed you. Yeah.
So in the fire plane, keys are not like lock-in keys. Keys are specially cut gemstones. So like instead of having the teeth of the key be the unique mechanism that unlocks the lock, the gemstones cut is a unique mechanism that unlocks a lock. Right? Okay. Or I'll follow it. If I ever end up on the fire plane, this key will be attracted to whatever door it is supposed to open. So it'll start pulling at the person's pocket, trying to get home, nudging it home, right? So my idea of the fire plane, there's a core, a magnetic core that has a magnetic pull. There is a layer that is just purely magical fire, that is ever burning fire, right? And then there's a crust on top of it. And the crust on top is what people actually live in. Although they do dive down into the fire like it is an ocean. And it is the oceans and stuff, right? It's not a very thick crust. It's just enough to get by. Somewhere on this crust is a desert, and specifically a moving desert, which I don't know if you guys know about this, but wind will move sand on islands, and islands will actually like move and transfer where they are. I'm from an island called Galveston Island, and Galveston is slowly shifting where it is because of the wind and because of the water moving the sand around. My idea was the same concept. There is this moving pile of sand. It's not sentient, but it's a moving pile of sand that whimsically so makes its way across the plains, right? In this pile of sand is a tomb. And I'm talking about like it's a box that rolls around in the sand. It's a tomb. And in this tomb is some beautiful, wonderful magic item, right? Some nice, delicious fire, probably infused with fire, magic item. The players have to find this tomb that is in this sand, go get into the sand to get into the tomb, and then go into the tomb and try to solve all of the puzzles and all this stuff. I imagine it being bigger on the inside than it actually is on the outside, because let's be honest here, how big of a tomb can you hide in a pile of dirt, right? So I imagine it being bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, and that might be a reference to something, but I don't, you can decide for that for yourself. It's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, and you go in and it's a whole dungeon. My idea is like at least 10 rooms, all with booby traps and monsters and all this kind of stuff. I would stay away from sphinxes and mummies and stuff like that. I wouldn't necessarily go the Egyptian route for this. I would actually go more, I guess you could call it the celestial route for this. So I would have like angels guarding this place. I would have stone statues, animated objects, things like that guarding this place. And obviously there's more loot than just this single magic item, but the single magic item is like kind of the cool thing. And so you go through this dungeon, searching each room, you know, making sure that you're taking care of everything, making sure you're getting down to business and getting down to the lootin' and rootin' tootin' that is exploration in D&D. Finally, in probably a secret room or a hidden room, towards the end of the dungeon, I would make there be a room that is simply just a pedestal. It's just a pedestal. It's a perfect room with a pedestal. And in this pedestal, on this pedestal, floating is this magic item. Now, I would not particularly make this thing booby trapped, this pedestal booby trapped. Why? Because it is a red herring. Your players are going to freak the fuck out and roll every single check and do every single measure possible to make sure that they can get this magic item. But the fact is that it was in a secret room, so they could just get the magic item. I think that doing that kind of stuff is really fun, and throwing off the players is really fun. But I also think it's very fun to surprise my players with cloakers, and I've done it like, I think 5 or 6 times at this point. I've surprised them with the cloakers, and it's always successful, and it's always a grand time, and I just think it's fun. And then finally, once they get this single magic item, once they procure it off of this pedestal, the most amazing and most Indiana Jones thing ever, the tomb begins to crumble, because the magic of the magic item is what was sustaining the tomb to begin with. So the tomb begins to crumble from in front of their very eyes, and they have to race their way out through all of those traps and all of those pits and all of that dooming and glooming and all of that stuff, all the way to the beginning, so that they can get out of it before the whole demiplane collapses in on top of itself and it just becomes a box in sand. Now their trinket has become a really cool and has led them to a really cool magic item, and everybody's happy. So that's kind of the extended version of what I imagine this dungeon being like. Again, it's a really big rough draft, but all of these trinkets are rough drafts so that you are able to customize it and specify it to your specific player. Or if you just want to run it even though you don't have the trinket, you can do that too. If you would like to request a trinket, please drop it in the comments below. To be completely honest with you, it is much easier to make these things if somebody else makes the decision for me of which one I have to pick, because there's kind of 100 of them and I've only done like 10, I think. So just pick one and leave it in the comments. It'd be so fucking cool if you would do that. I love doing these. I love making these little rough drafts for you guys. And if you are interested in more refined, more thought out, and more publishing quality of ideas from me, check out the doobly-doo below for all of my links, including my book and my loot letter, where instead of sending you like advertisements or like stuff that really doesn't matter, I send you free shit. I send you free things that I come up with and publish every single month. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And you are always welcome at my table. Absolutely 100%. And I will see you in the next video next week. Okay.